Welcome to the 100th episode of the San Jose Hockey Now podcast. I'm Sheng Peng, editor-in-chief of San Jose Hockey Now. You can also find my work at MEC Sharks on Twitter, Sheng_Peng, on Blue Sky, Sheng Peng, and also follow us on Instagram, San Jose Hockey Now.
And I'm Keegan McNally. You can find me on Twitter at halfwall_hockey, my website half-wallhockey.com, or at San Jose Hockey Now. We're going to get better at this.
Zubair Jeewanjee, inventor of the Chomp and Division II Beer League, San Jose Ice. Find me there. Give you a good slash or two, I swear. And who's this guy in the corner?
We have a fourth guy, very, very special. We are going to give Dan Boyle the proper introduction that he deserves in just a second. But before we do that, though, just a word from our sponsor, Bring Hockey Back, bringhockeyback.net. Go to Bring Hockey Back, get any of hockey jersey that you want, custom hockey jerseys for your beer league team, for any kind of occasion. Also, too, they have awesome t-shirts. I am wearing one of these today. It's a short shirt. So Bring Hockey Back. Go to bringhockeyback.net. Coupon code San Jose Hockey Now and get 15% off.
Yes.
All right. Get it. We need a Boiler shirt now. Bring Hockey Back's got to do something with Boyle in it.
We're going to work on that. We're going to work on that.
Yep. All right. Well, I'm super excited. This is an awesome moment for all of us. We got Dan Boyle with us. Obviously, all the Sharks fans know of you, but let's just do a quick recap. One of my all-time favorite Sharks. No joke. Also, as you know, foot twin. I picked up a pair of your Eastons about 12 years ago and rocked those Jets for a couple of seasons of beer league. And yeah, that's right. The biggest note, Stanley Cup champion, gold medal winner, and a rare group of undrafted defensemen who've played over 1,000 games in the NHL. You've obviously fought your way into the NHL as an undersized defenseman in a league that was tougher to play in than it is today, and earned respect of everyone in the game, playing big minutes in every situation and under Tortorella, which I think needs its own little,
I'm sure we'll talk about him this season at some point.
Yeah, of course. And obviously skated with some of the best players ever to play the game, Martin St. Louis, Joe Thornton, over the course of an 18-year career, and now a part of San Jose Hockey Now. Welcome, Dan.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, and this is a perfect job for me because I'm a homebody unless I'm golfing or taking my girls somewhere. I like to be at home, so this is a pretty good gig. And I did my research with you guys on a couple Saturdays ago and a couple Saturdays before that, and it was a very good
the research, guys.
It was a very good hang. Some very, you guys are some very, very strange dudes. I don't know Keegan well yet. But
Also a pretty strange dude.
We're going to get into that. There's some weird shit going on between these two. But yeah,
I'm the normal one, I promise.
It was definitely a good vibe, and happy to be here.
I love it. Yeah, we had some good chats and lots of good drinks as well. I think our first night when we were all hanging out in Los Gatos, we were trying to figure out what we all had in common and get a vibe for each other. And we realized that at the center of all of our conclusive Venn diagram is we're all highly competitive people. We all love the Sharks in hockey. And lastly, we all love Tom Cruise.
I was going to say, and we have strange taste in music and movies.
Yes.
When I say strange, I mean like it's awesome. It's an awesome taste in movies, but it's just different than the norm, I would say.
Oh yeah, totally agree. We heard a story about what you played on one of the Sharks trips, actually. Speaking about strange films, you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, this is our first episode. We're going to get right into it. Huh? So,
I thought we would say that for the Halloween episode.
How many listeners do you have, Sheng? Because we may go. How many do you have? You may go.
Hopefully a few thousand.
All right, we may go to like 100,000, or we may go down to 5.
But those 5 are going to be our favorite people.
The diehards. Yeah.
So people right now will determine whether they're going to listen to this podcast or they're just never going to listen to it again. So I have a very eclectic, weird taste in movies.
Mhm.
In particular, I like horror movies, but not the horror movies that you're going to see on Netflix or
Sure.
in a movie theater. I like the stuff that's kind of like on the black market, some of the stuff that you're not supposed to see. So
You go
this
to the
movie,
dark web, Dan?
this movie that came out a few years ago, maybe 10, 15 years ago, was called The Human Centipede. Now,
No, jeez.
it became like a cult classic, but
Oh, yeah.
before it became a cult classic, nobody knew what the hell it was.
Hmm.
And I loved the movie. I thought it was brilliant. Great acting. Wonderful.
Brilliant's
wonderful.
an overstatement, but I think it's interesting.
I don't know if that was acting in the movie. It just was pure disgust.
I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a fantastic movie. And so fast forward to this is probably mid 2010, somewhere at that point, maybe like 2012 or something like that. We used to, wherever we would fly, now everyone's got their own iPads and phones. Everyone's kind of dialed into their own thing. But back then, there would be screens in the middle of every third aisle.
That's right.
And they would put the DVDs at the front. The stewardesses, stewies. I don't know what you're supposed to say anymore, but the people that work the airplane would put the movies in the front, and it would play on every monitor. You either had to watch it, plug in your headphones and watch it, or you were kind of on your own. So we took this one flight, and we'll eventually bring some people on board to maybe talk about it at some point. But the Sharks, every year, they kind of take their big hitters, their big sponsors. They fly them out for like a road trip, if you will. And so there's some big hitters at the front of the plane, some won't mention any names, but I had the brilliant idea of putting the Human Centipede on. So all these like gazillionaires, huge Sharks fan, amazing sponsors, amazing people were like,
What am I watching?
And then when the scene starts, when he feeds them and stuff, they're like, what the fuck is this? And it was like a gasp across the airplane. And I was like, fucking watch the movie. And so
cinema brilliance.
There's some horror stories where people were like nauseous. Nicholas Wallin was a player on our team. He thought I was the fucking craziest man he ever met. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking great movie. Just watch the movie. Anyway, so we watched The Human Centipede on a Sharks plane.
I love
it. And that was a good story.
So Sharks fans, that next season, the reason the ticket prices went up is because all the sponsors were gone.
For those that haven't seen The Human Centipede, go watch it. And then there's a number 2.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
And then there's a number 3. So if you like
Did
one,
they just add
2,
another person every time? Is that the?
Well, it goes from 3. Yeah, it goes from 3 to 12, and the last one is about 120. It's in a prison yard.
That is.
Well, if you're doing it right, don't you start from the back? Work your way.
I think you want to be the front guy. You want to be the front guy. You always want to be the front guy. And the people that know the movie will know why. You gotta be number uno on that one.
All right, here's to a new era of San Jose.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
Let's go, boys. Fucking rights.
Human Centipede right away. 5 minutes in, Human Centipede. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get the rights to the Human Centipede. I feel like we might get banned or demonetized if we played it in the corner, but or people would just unsubscribe.
Or the soundtrack. It could be our intro song now.
God. Anything brighter? Anything a little bit happier to spark our day? Today?
No, because some of the other movies that I've watched are worse. So,
we'll go to top 3 favorite Tom Cruise flicks.
Right. So that came up for me. It clear cut number 1 is Vanilla Sky, which is my favorite movie of all time. I would call it a mind fuck. Anyone that hasn't watched it, it's fucking brilliant. It's amazing.
Great movie. Yeah.
I think we were number 2 and 3. He's made so many great movies. I'm gonna put Last Samurai in there, number 2.
Last Samurai. Okay.
Yeah, I know. And then number 3 is kind of like a toss-up. There's so many good ones, but I have to go with the Top Gun Maverick. I think as a number 3. But there's so many more. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I'm like, shit. There's so many more. But we'll go with those three right now.
I love it. I think so. Vanilla Sky. It's now that you mention it, that wasn't in my top three, but so
Magnolia's right there.
So Magnolia's in my top three. That role is probably my favorite.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise role. That role, like, is just killer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That first intro, the first time I saw that movie, I was like, "Oh my god, I've never seen Cruise like this."
Yeah, it was
awesome.
awesome.
And whenever people try to debate me with Tom Cruise, I'm like, name me someone else, any actor in the history of mankind that's worked with Paul Thomas Anderson, Stanley Kubrick, and Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, there's a reason why everyone works with him. So
Eyes Wide Shut.
That's my number one. So you're just picking off my list. That, and then my number three, Mission Impossible 1.
Okay.
See, like I'm kind of like I like Tom Cruise in that like dramatic role, right? Like I love Tom Cruise in A Few Good Men. Like A Few Good Men is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's not because Tom Cruise is brilliant in it. Obviously, Jack Nicholson kind of like steals the show in it, but he's just that character is just perfect. Like he's a straight man who's like has his job. He knows what he's doing. He's dramatic as hell. That's the Tom Cruise that I like. I think he's
does he sprint? Does he sprint in A Few Good Men? I love a good Tom Cruise sprint. You know,
he might.
Vanilla Sky opening. The only time New York City has ever been shut down.
That's right.
Wasn't the opening scene with everything in its right place? Because Radiohead's my favorite band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's at least I had read that somewhere that it was the only time they ever shut Times Square down. It was around 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning, and for that scene, which was pretty
as they should for Tom Cruise.
As they should.
Shangers, what are your top three?
Oh, Keegan, you didn't finish. You have a couple others, or is that your one
and one? I love Top Gun. I love Tropic Thunder as well. Was it excellent?
Oh, you took mine. Yeah,
I know. I love that. That's a more of a newer one because that was like
Days of Thunder. What about Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder. No, I was looking at his IMDb today. You can honestly pick like 20 of his movies. 25 of his movies are all very, very legit. Would all be favorites of everybody. Very quickly for myself. Maverick definitely is number one. I'm going to say something that will probably get me beat up by you guys and get stuff in the locker room later. I actually haven't seen Vanilla Sky. I realized that.
What?
And the reason why I haven't seen it, though, is because I saw the Spanish version first. And then
well, that means I think you saw it.
So, yeah. So I thought to myself, well, I don't know if I need to watch the Tom Cruise version.
Well, so who was your Spanish girlfriend at that time?
I did not have a Spanish girlfriend. I just the one I watched. I was really into movies, but okay. I have a couple others. Okay, the obvious one is Jerry Maguire. That's an obvious one.
I was just gonna say Jerry Maguire.
Well, you guys missed this one though. You guys missed, and this one is as good as anything he's done. Like I go with a lot of the ones I can rewatch all the time. And Edge of Tomorrow, I can put that movie on all the fucking time. Like I love that movie. Background all the time. It's such a good movie. And finally, Tropic Thunder, just because he's hardly in it, but he's so good when he's in it. He should have won, in my opinion. He should have been nominated for an Oscar for that because I think halfway through the movie, I don't think anybody knew it was Tom Cruise. Yeah, and people started realizing that's how good he was. So anyway,
he was great. I don't see that as a Tom Cruise movie, although he was phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
But
I heard too that like when he got asked to do the Tropic Thunder role, he ideated that entire character. He was like, I want to be overweight. I want to be able to dance. And they were like, what? And he's like, that's the only way I'm doing it. And he created that whole character. And I don't know if this, I feel like I heard this somewhere that they're doing a spinoff. Like they're bringing the character back.
Oh, really?
And it's like a Tom Cruise spinoff.
If he does it, then I'm in on it.
I mean, is Mission Impossible like 26 already done? He can fit in one.
He's supposed to be over, so finally, so yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So our last podcast got torn apart for being the Los Angeles Hockey Now podcast because it was a little bit Los Angeles focused instead of San Jose. So I think now we're like the Hollywood.
Cruise.
Yeah, the Tom Cruise podcast, the Hollywood Top 100.
You know what, guys? I do what I want. All right, guys.
It's true. Shang does whatever he wants. We're gonna get back to San Jose hockey.
Sharks fans were so mad at us.
They were.
And we just gotta say, we're here for the Sharks. We're for the boys. Look who we brought on.
Exactly.
We're all Sharks, baby.
If you want some stories, I'll give you guys some stories. I just got to give you guys a little bit at a time. I can't give you everything on the first day.
100%.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can top the Human
not.
Centipede story though. So
anyone bother, just email Sheng Peng. Leave me out of it. You won't find me on.
I gotta
social
see
media.
who was on the team that year and be like,
You will not
I
find
told
me on
everybody
social
who was on the team that year, like, do you remember when Dan made the sponsors watch Human Centipede?
I texted with the Randy Hahn. Randy Hahn loves talking about that story, so maybe we get him on there. But yeah, it was. Some people were pretty mortified.
It's not like you put on the team playing. It's one thing if it's just the boys watching it, but that the sponsors.
Well, that makes the story. That makes the story that much better. Right?
That's what makes it classic.
Yeah.
They're like, why am I putting my money into this? What have I done?
But there might have been one guy who was super pumped. He was like, I get it.
Well, I think we had
learned something about himself
wins.
that day.
He had 50 wins that year. We can play.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
And that's when Hasso bought the Sharks.
Yeah, I think that doctor was German, I think. So
yeah, there you go.
They got something in common.
That checks out.
Canceled,
right? All right, boys. So main topic
we
for
are
today.
covering a hockey team.
Yeah, right. So we're going to talk with Boilers today some more, and before we get to the news, we're going to get to some news and notes, and then talk a little bit about the main topic for today is about the Sharks captaincy, who's likely to get it this next season, and some insights from Boiler on what a locker room looks like and what makes a good leader. So we're really excited to get into that, and before that, we'll get into some quick news and notes, and I'll turn it over to Sheng for that.
Yeah, well, number one, the rookie faceoff roster was announced yesterday, and a couple of the big names on there. I think the number one name that we expected to be on there and is on there, and I think really just kind of it clinches that he's going to be around because even though he still hasn't signed his ELC, Michael Misa is on that rookie faceoff roster. Sam Dickinson is on it. A little bit of a surprise that Colin Graf is going too. He has 40 NHL games already, but maybe they want a little veteran leadership there. Someone someone who won't play Human Centipede on a flight down there. Someone responsible like Colin Graf. And also too, an interesting name just for Sharks fans, Jake Stewart, the son of Brad Stewart. He's going there too. And so that's some of the big names. Also Josh Ravensbergen. So a bunch of the big name prospects will be going down there. And so anyway, and I did want to add the one extra significance of Misa going. So NCAA prospects don't participate in this tournament. So if there's any thought that Michael is going to the NCAA, like I mentioned to you guys maybe 2 months ago now that there was no interest that I had heard from Misa's side to do that, to go to college. And so I think that this is just another sort of, that's not happening. So just a matter of the ELC and finding the space for the Sharks to add that contract, because like we explained last week in the podcast before we talked about the Kings for an hour, that the Sharks are kind of up on the contracts, 50-50 contracts. So they need to clear a couple of them before they can add Misa on there. But anyway, anybody have any thoughts on just sort of this rookie faceoff roster and guys you're looking out for?
Yeah, Sheng. Sorry, Keegan. I want to turn it over to you. And really curious on your prospect outlook of who you're most excited about. Yeah,
a couple of guys. So I think the Quentin Musty is kind of like on the older side of this, right? So he's like an 05 born. Most of these guys are like 06s, 07s, and this is kind of the time when we've seen it in past rookie faceoffs. Like Eklund takes over, Smith takes over, guys that like you expect to have that like next step. They really show their stuff, and I think it's time for Musty to show it at this level, because he's probably the most experienced and one of the highest caliber prospects that the Sharks have going to this tournament, except for Misa and Chernyshov and all that. So super excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see what how Wang does too, because like it's kind of a step up, right? Like he's facing the best prospects from across at least a couple of different NHL teams, not just playing in the WHL. So it's going to be kind of like putting your feet to the fire a little bit with him, because he's kind of raw, and I'm just really curious to see how he does with those minutes. So I'd say I'm looking out for those two in particular, and then obviously Misa, just because second overall pick, and Chernyshov and his connection with Misa. So probably those guys.
And I wanted to add on a guy like a Musty to Keegan's point in a tournament like this, where he is older and this is his third one, I believe. You expect him to dominate, not just enough for him to be good at a tournament like this, but he should take over. And a note on this: the tournament's going to be September 12th through 14th in Irvine. I will be there, so hopefully I see some of you there.
And also, just remembering back to last year, Musty didn't look too hot last year.
Well, he actually looked good in the rookie face-off. It was when he joined training camp and the scrimmages. That was the issue. So he did well in the rookie face-off. But again, these are all different levels, which Dan can attest to, right? So there's a development camp, there's rookie face-off, and then there's actual NHL training camp so there's different tiers.
And I'm gonna tell the listeners right now, I'm not gonna bullshit you and pretend like I know most of these guys, right? Yeah. These three guys, you guys are the experts. My part is just, I'm going to give you my 2 cents from my angle, but the one guy that you mentioned, Sheng, was Colin Graf is one of the guys. I mean, what you said he played 40 games?
Yeah, 40 games overall.
So he's one of those guys that stood out to me last year when I was doing, I did a little radio from this press box. There's a lot more in there is what I'm trying to say. I think, I'm not sure what pick he was.
He was a free agent. He
was. So there you go. See, I don't know a lot of this shit, but I think there's a lot more there for that guy. I think he's.
Did they used to
take a bigger step?
Did they used to have these kind of things when you were coming up, like these like rookie face-off kind of things?
I never heard it put that way, but again, I was not drafted, so I didn't get to participate in a lot of this stuff. When I signed with Florida, there was a rookie camp, which I ended up missing because I was injured. But they would have rookie camp and then training camp. Gotcha. Nothing besides those two, really. So
it seems like they've kind of grown them every year. Like now every team has their own like rookie face-off squad, and they all like face off against each other. So I'm waiting for the time when the NHL like makes it a thing, and then all 32 teams bring a rookie team. But that's just my pie in the sky idea at some point.
Well, Dan, got to ask you, since you bring it up, what do you think of Colin Graf? What do you see his ceiling, or what can he be, or what do you like about him?
I just, again, for me, again, I played 18 years, not because I was big. I'm sure we're going to talk about it. I wasn't the fastest, the strongest, but I think I was pretty smart, man. That's what I like about his game. His vision, puck smart. I don't know if that's a term that's a term I like to use, and just work ethic. You're going to hear me talk about this probably way too much, but there's one thing you can control every night. Sometimes the puck's going to bounce over your stick. Sometimes you're going to be tired. Sometimes you're hurt. Sometimes something. But what you can control every single game, 82 games a year, is your work ethic. You give everything you had. That's what I believe I did for 18 years. I didn't have 18 years. I didn't have 1,000 great games, but I worked my fucking ass off every night. And I think that's what, from what I've seen, he brings. And I think the ceiling's high with him. So I maybe a second line. I could see him on the second line, getting a little more some offensive chances here, hopefully, and see what happens.
All right, Dan Boyle, Colin Graf Truther.
I love it. I like Colin too. So
I don't know anything about him. I didn't know he wasn't drafted. And like I said, the fans, I'm not one of those guys that's going to, that's what you guys are here for. I'm just going to tell you what I see, and that's just my opinion.
Undrafted see their own.
Yeah, the undrafted see their own. That's good. No, the Sharks, like amateur and pro scouting, they pick up these guys, and he's just one of them. And it was good that like a lot of teams were like seeking out him out of college, and Sharks got him. So just speaks to them being not a like destination city yet, but like
they have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, there you go. Pulling some guys that
there's a lot of opportunity when you're
I will say this while we're on the subject, because I don't think we'll talk about this very much. One of the most underrated positions in all of hockey is scouting. Okay, we talk about players, we talk about the coaches, we talk about the GM. Hell, you even talk about the freaking trainers.
Yeah.
If you don't have the right scouts, picking up the Colin Grafs, and I'm going to date myself, but the Marty St. Louis and some of these undrafted players, if you can't find those guys, Joe Pavelski's in the late round.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have scouts that know what the fuck they're doing. They have to have an eye for the game and certain players. And, some of them are old school. Some are like, well, is he 6'5"? Does he have a reach this big? What can he bench? Like, that doesn't mean anything to me. I would need to see a player, see what he does on the ice. I would need to know what his teammates think of him. I would need to, there's a lot more going on there. But scouts are very underappreciated and underrated part of building not just a hockey team, but any sports team.
I couldn't agree more. Last week we had a guest on, and he was talking about bringing the analogy on the Kings rebuild to the Sharks. And one of the 5 points that he made that I thought was a really good one is, if you want to be successful, you need to have some deep drafts that hit for any successful organization. And you need to have those deep rounders, the undrafted, that really hit. And, like you said, at the Joe Pavelskis, like, you don't get a turnaround just by hitting on your top picks. You need to have a couple deep ones.
Absolutely. And there's every team's got them. It's just, I think the teams that do well will tend to, don't get me wrong, if you have like Chicago had like 3 freaking first rounders in a row, of course you're going to turn it around. But, the teams that can maintain and do well year after year, they're going to have some late picks. They're going to have to like come through, like you said.
But yeah, and to that point, Dan, I mean, Chicago, they hit late too, though. I mean, every team does if you're that successful. Duncan Keith was a second-round pick, just for example. You can name guys like Dustin Byfuglien came later, I think, right?
Yeah,
so anyways,
you're right. You're right.
Bolin was on their 4th line with Byfuglien. Like, they had some guys. Andrew Ladd.
Yeah.
They had some
Zubair, stop talking about other teams too much. We're
Chicago Hockey Now podcast. All right. Any more news for this before we get to our main topic?
Yeah, well, let's see. Very briefly. Actually, I'm sure this is a topic that makes Dan fall asleep. More details about the CBA came out, the new NHL PA CBA. So I just want to run through a couple of the kind of the major highlights from it and a couple things that are very, very relevant to the Sharks right now. So just very, very briefly run through it before we talk about the captaincy, the Sharks and the captaincy and no captain with Dan Boyle here. But anyway, so number one, the regular season will begin next year. It's going to begin in late September. And the cup will be awarded in mid-June, so that'll be pretty early. The preseason will be shortened to, I think, 4 games, and the regular season will be extended to 84 games. So that's a call back to the mid-90s when they did that. This is not relevant to the Sharks at all. Teams won't be able to manipulate the LTIR for the playoffs as much as they've been able to. So, for example, there's actually a lot of different details to it, so I don't want to get all into it. And like I said, not relevant to the Sharks. But the 2026 playoffs will be played with teams limited to icing a 20-man roster that is cap compliant. That's a big deal because over the last few years, you've seen teams like Tampa, like Vegas. Basically, they've been able to, you can say they've been hiding them on purpose or whatever, but they've been able to basically fill teams in the playoffs. Because in the playoffs, there is no cap limit. High players in a regular season, and all of a sudden, Nikita Kucherov, he's healthy, he can play now, and you add a $10 million player in the playoffs.
We're looking at you, Mark Snow.
Mark Stone.
All
right, that's Zubair's cutoff limit right there. So anyway, beginning with next thing, beginning with the 2026-27 season, players who have 0 games of NHL experience will be required to wear neck protection. So that's going to be a grandfathered in thing. So a guy like Macklin Celebrini, who obviously has already played, he won't have to wear one. But if you are DuPont, for example, that's a big prospect for that season. A guy like that, he's going to have to wear neck protections. Basically, the young guys coming in. This one is interesting. I wonder how this is going to evolve. Teams will have a traveling permanent e-bug in 2026-27. So, Dan, just a guy that can add on e-bug, emergency goalie.
Oh shit! I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, is this a tech term?
Yes, Dan, it's a Silicon Valley term.
Yes, every team will have an emergency goalie travel with them.
Traveling, yes. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, well, young guy to hang out.
And is he
paid?
Like, does he salary or what?
Yeah, I think he's paid. I don't think he'll count against the cap. I don't believe it won't be a major salary. They have limits on how experienced his e-bug can be. So you can't pull like Martin Jones out of retirement to be your e-bug or somebody ridiculous. So I think it's like under 40 professional games of experience or something like that. I don't know. There's limits to make sure that no one cheats that by basically adding a legitimate like number.
I saw a couple of goalies from the 3-on-3 thing where Zubair was playing.
Yeah. I got to get my glove hand ready, man.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I saw a couple goalies.
Yeah. You're just going to be able to sit on a plane and hang with the boys and probably not play. So that sounds actually a pretty good job, right?
Pretty nice gig, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are a couple of CBA things that are applicable to the Sharks, and I'll throw it to you guys in a second just to see if you guys have any thoughts on it. So I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and I made a mistake on this. So maximum contracts for players will be changed from 8 years to 7 years. But, and this is important to the Sharks, this rule doesn't go into effect until September 16th of next year, September 16th, 2026. So Macklin Celebrini, for example, he's eligible for extension on July 1st. Will Smith too. So both of these guys will still be eligible for 8-year contracts. And finally, and this one is not set yet, and this is actually a very, very big deal to the Sharks. The NHL and NHLPA, they want to allow 19-year-olds to play in the AHL as soon as this season. But this is pending AHL CHL agreement. And I'm going to guess the AHL is okay with that. So you can guess who is pushing back against this. It's the CHL. So the rule will be that each team can have one CHL 19-year-old in the AHL. And it was thought originally that this rule will be instituted for the next season when most of the CBA changes happen. But the NHL and NHLPA is pushing for this to happen this year. We'll see what happens if this happens or not. Obviously, for the Sharks, it would be great to have the option. This changes the whole conversation about Sam Dickinson. If you have the option of placing Sam Dickinson in the AHL full-time, I like the beer being cracked open as I talk. So placing Sam Dickinson in AHL full-time. Instead of right now, his only options are the NHL or CHL. So anyway, I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that or we just move on. So. But I think we need a ticker. So
you got to check. I think the latest thing I heard from, I don't remember who it was. One of the big wigs that is on Twitter and all that stuff that reports stuff. The Elliot Friedmans, if you will. Sure. I think they said that this is probably going to happen next year. I think that was the update from today was that the AHL CHL 19-year-old agreement is probably going to be next year rather than this year. So. I think the Sam Dickinson and the AHL dream might be dead. He might just have to play in the NHL. So, Sam Dickinson, Dan, is one of the prospects for the Sharks.
No, I know who he is, but I'm trying to.
Don't talk to Dan like he's 10 years old, all right?
No. It's fair. Some of them I might not
joking.
know. Him I do. Offensive, defensive, but I'm confused. Why wouldn't he be able to play as a 19-year-old in the minors, or is it because you're going to burn a year?
It's because of the CHL agreement. So when you play in the CHL, they can't. Basically, you have to either play in the NHL or go back to the CHL at 19 years old. You can't play.
So a 19-year-old cannot play in the AHL?
If you come from the CHL from your primary drafted year. So it's if you play. Yeah, it's kind of a strange thing to keep. The CHL has had it for a long time to keep.
So if a 19-year-old almost makes a team, doesn't, they can't send him to the minors?
They have to send him back to the CHL, and that happens all the time. And that's why it's become like a big thing in the CBA. Because
I did not know that.
Yeah, because all the NHL teams are like, "What the hell? This guy's really close. He doesn't need to go back to juniors."
Absolutely. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so now it's gonna hopefully starting next year. You can pick one guy to be like, "This guy's super close. Let's just."
Okay, I got you. Okay, got it. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a sticking point for a couple of years. It's just dumb, basically. It's just like the CHL wants to keep their good talent for as long as possible.
Right.
Yeah, and Sam's kind of in that mold where last year he had 90 points in 50 games or whatever.
Yeah, he's not
CHL defenseman a year.
Yeah, he's too good for
so he's got nothing left to prove down there, and he may not be good enough to play for the Sharks. I don't know. I haven't seen him play yet.
Yeah,
but he's one of those guys that need to play. Yep. You need to play against better competition.
Exactly. So we're hopeful that some way the Sharks work it out. They did the same thing with Shane Wright, which was a highly drafted prospect a couple of years ago, where he played a few games for Seattle. Then he played a conditioning stint for the AHL. Then he played World Juniors, and then he went back to the CHL. So he kind of went everywhere to try and get some better competition.
That was my understanding that would have been the plan for the Sharks. If Sam isn't quite good enough for the NHL, that they would basically give him his 9 games in the NHL, space it out, and then send him down to the AHL for a conditioning assignment. and then kind of basically play out the time, get to world championships, world junior championships, and then send them back to London around early January. So that could still happen if this rule doesn't go through. But anyway, that's sort of the thought. But anyway, though.
Well,
Zubair,
let me put you three on the spot right now.
Okay.
So the Shark fans can eventually go see Keegan's right or Zubair's right or Zubair's full shit. Who out of you three? I'm going to ask Zubair. Is he going to be on the team this year? Yes or no?
I think Dickinson's on the team this year.
Yes. Okay. Sheng Peng. Yes or no?
Not full time. I think that they are.
Well, I'm saying north of 10 games.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Full time. He's basically once he's passed. When he's north of 10 games, his contract will burn.
You think it will be north of 10 games?
No, I don't.
You don't. So. And then Keegan, yes or no?
Yes, I'm gonna go north of 10 games.
We got two yeses and a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta do it.
There'll be more of these this year. See who knows what they're talking about. See who doesn't.
Shag's gonna be right.
Last time he put a gun to my head, someone said Matchbox 20. So we'll just leave it at that.
That was hilarious, by the way. That's an inside joke, people. It's an inside joke. Can we talk about it without so we were out the other night. We were out the other night. I won't share too much, but I said, gun to your head to someone. So you can only see one band, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. You got to gun your head. You got to decide right now. Pressure's on. Who's playing?
Someone pick Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20. And I go, holy fuck.
Pull the trigger.
You are sick.
You said Matchbox 20.
Somebody said Matchbox 20 with a gun to their head.
And Dan just started breaking out into it's 3 a.m. I
was like, of all the answers,
a lot of bands, man.
Matchbox was at like 1 billion to 1.
The bands would start with the name M. I can think of other bands too, but like Muse or
whatever. It could have been anything, but Matchbox 20 was probably
not the
one.
It
was 1 billion to 1, maybe 1 trillion.
In defense of this person, Dan Boyle with the finger gun is very intimidating.
Gun your head now! Go! Matchbox 20!
Ah, damn it.
Matchbox 20? What the fuck is wrong with you? Have you seen Human Centipede?
Have you seen?
Yeah. What messed him up was that movie. You know.
But anyways, okay, so we got 2. He's going to make it north of 10 games. We got 1 no.
Yep.
I have no comment because I literally don't know the kid.
That's what I was going to say, though, that when I'm traveling, we got to get a Zubair, go over to Dan's house, watch some exhibition games with Dan, watch Dickinson, drink some beer, record it.
I heard he's an offensive defenseman. Obviously, he's got a ton of points. So
we got to hear we got to hear that and Luca Cagnoni. We're gonna do both.
Yeah, him. I did like 5 radio and TV games last year, and I was told to keep an eye on him because he was undersized, but like really undersized. I was at least 5'11", 5'10" and a half. He's like 5'7".
He's 5'8", 5'9", maybe. Yeah.
Short versus short crime.
So I kept an eye on him. Obviously, he can skate, smart, but when
he's got the hockey IQ.
Oh, well, let's not give it all away.
That's what you need, and I think for me, and as a small player too, I need to see more repetitions. I need to see more games. I need to see how he's going to do over a long. Seeing him for 10 games isn't going to make up my mind. I need to see a full season before I would.
Yeah, Dan, you're kind of not infamous, but like to some fans, if you're like, oh, Luca Cagnoni's never going to make it, they're like, no, he's the next Dan Boyle. Like,
hopefully that's a good thing. I mean, again, I hope so. I love my career. I think I would be proud to, so we'll see.
And small players do make it. I think that's the other thing people say. The odds are against it, but small players make it. It happens.
Well, like you said, hockey IQ has to be up there. Work ethic has to be there. And then it's just going to be a matter of him, calming the nerves. It takes a little bit. It takes. Sometimes it takes 5 games, 10 games. Sometimes, guys, it takes 40 games. But Once he can learn to make plays under pressure, avoid getting hit. Like you said, today's game, smaller players aren't as affected or frowned upon, unlike when I played 20-some years ago, where defensemen under 5'10", when I broke into the league in '98, I think there were under 5'10", I think there were 4 in the whole league.
Who were they? Do you remember who they were?
Brian Leach, I think, was 5'10".
Okay, well, Brian Leach was special. Wow. Rafalski. What about Rafalski? Was he?
Rafalski and I came in at the same time. But Zubov might be 5'10", and then there was a guy named Sweeney in Boston. Is it Don?
Don Sweeney, the Boston GM. He was.
I think he was south or short of 5'10".
Yeah. And
I'm forgetting the 4th. But then me and Rafalski kind of came in a little bit after that. But I remember at one point there were 4. Now.
Yeah, last NHL draft, there were no defensemen drafted under 6 foot at all in the whole draft. In the whole draft, there were no defensemen drafted under 6 foot.
Seriously?
Yes, it's absolutely
it's going back the other way. Like 5 years ago, it was like more smaller players were being drafted, forwards and defensemen. But it seems like the pendulum is swinging the other way again. So.
And I'll be the first to say, you can't have 6 guys that are 5'7", 5'8". Like I'm saying there's room for 1 or 2, but you need. It's a big sport. You need your big guys. Everybody plays their role, but there is room for a small defenseman, maybe 2 on your team.
I just want to add, so I don't get an angry call from Brian Leach. He is 6 foot. So.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, that's what it says on the program. But
6 foot with skates.
I was 5. I was 5
with his afro.
I was 5'11".
It's my favorite thing in hockey.
Yeah,
when you're in the Hall of Fame, you can cheat a couple, and you can round up.
He was my favorite. He was my favorite defenseman. So maybe he was 6 feet, but at the time, I think. He might have been 5'10", 5'11", but
okay. I trust you. You saw him face to face. So
there was one guy who was like 5'11 3/4, Cameron Reed, who was a first rounder this past year. So I guess I don't know. They rounded up on some sides. Gotcha. So technically,
and
like you said, everybody cheats on the sides.
I got on my tippy toes in my first training camp. I just gave it. I gave it a little lift, and they gave me 5'11". But
I'm 5'7 3/4, but on my Bumble and Hinge profile, I'm 5'8". Come on. Come on, it's a 1/4 inch. I'm rounding up.
How tall can Lane Hudson really be? And he just won the Calder.
Yeah.
Right?
I gotta stand next to that dude because that dude's like 5'8", right? So like I'm
probably pretty tight.
If I'm his height or not.
Yeah. No, there's room. There's definitely room for sure.
So Shangers, back to you. Anything else on the CBA?
As I'm drinking out of my teacup. No.
All right.
I think that's it. So let's talk about the Sharks and their captaincy situation. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's get to the main topic today, which is the Sharks captaincy. And obviously in the closeout interview with Mike Gruer last season, Gruer said he's more than okay going through the season without a captain next year. And that's sort of the topic for discussion today. And so let's just get right into it. What's a room like without a captain?
I think we talked about this the other day off camera or whatever, and I didn't realize that. I think we had 1 year in San Jose.
Yeah, when you got traded to Tampa. Yeah.
So wait, when I got traded to Tampa, I didn't get.
Yeah, when you got traded to Tampa, or Tampa picked you up. Tampa didn't have a captain during that.
That's what it was. My first year in Tampa. That's right. That's right. Vinny wasn't the captain yet, so I didn't remember that. But I think I remember saying Andreychuk was there, and although he may not have had a C on his sweater, he was pretty much the captain. I think I talked about this with you guys. I think a captain needs to have certain attributes. Doesn't need to be the best player. The main thing for me has to be the hardest working player. I think if your captain's not your hardest working player, how can you expect guys to follow him? So I think a captain needs to be your hardest worker. I think your captain needs to be a glue guy. Some of that's off the ice stuff. That's taking care of the young guys. Glue guy is what I call it. So, somebody that can bring the boys in, take care of the boys. And the last thing is needs to be the communication between the coach and the players, and needs to sometimes, yell, scream at the boys, kind of going along with the coaches and kind of like, hey, fuck boys, let's wake the fuck up. We need to whatever. But at times, I think what I've seen, especially with Andreychuk, with Tortorella, it's the other way around. A captain needs to step up for his team, and he needs to go toe-to-toe with the coach sometimes. Because believe it or not, Sharks fans, coaches don't know everything. They think they do, but they don't. And sometimes the captain needs to be kind of that person. You don't want to have the whole team going against the coach. That's not healthy. But if you can have one person, sometimes the assistants will go in there. Balance that fine line. It's just walking.
We got you. Hold on.
Oh no.
I got canceled.
It was a Human Centipede story.
Yeah.
It was
30-minute
Ryan
delay.
Warsofsky.
It was going to happen. Yeah.
No, I
Warsofsky
think
saying, better listen.
Ryan
to me.
Warsofsky.
I think, yeah. I think you got to walk that fine line between being one of the boys, being hard on the boys, being that, and I think that's what a captain needs to do. And I'm sure there's a lot of little other things. You have to have earned it as well. I don't believe, although Sheng will tell me otherwise, there's been some 19-year-old captains, 20-year-old captains in the league before.
Yeah.
I'm not a strong supporter of that. I think you need to earn your stripes. You need to have played X amount of games. You need to have gone through some playoff runs. What does a 19-year-old rookie know about where the wives need to sit during the playoffs, or if we need to go in 2 days early in Minnesota because it's cold, or it's the rink is like a rookie won't know this type of shit. And that's where I think somebody has to have played in the league for a certain amount of years, have a certain amount of games under their belt, experience, and then that person, I think, can be named the captain.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. There's definitely the thought of Macklin Celebrini being named captain, but let's save that though. So Zubair, you were about to ask something?
Yeah. So a couple of questions. I mean, you've obviously played with a lot of great captains, and you kind of are referring to like Andreychuk kind of standing out. Can you tell us a little bit about his captaincy and what stood out to you?
Yeah, he was here's a fourth line guy, right? Andy was probably 39 when I got there. He played 39, 40, so he was at the tail end of his career, but hardest working player. Wasn't the best player, worked his ass off. Right? I mean, we all did, but he worked his ass off. Great glue guy, was on the road, could be with one of the boys. Great storyteller, in on the plane, just great. But if we didn't play well, Andy would step up and we would listen. But we had the dynamic in Tampa where we had a coach, and John Tortorella, it was fucking tough. And there were days where Torts would come in and just let us have it. And then he would shut the door and go, fuck him. And it brought the team together. So he knew he could walk that line where he could be our buddy, but he could also let us know, hey, we need to get our asses in gear. And that's not to say there weren't other captains that I played for, but having won the cup, that's going to happen. You're going to favor that experience. And I was younger, right? When I was in San Jose, I was a little bit older, went through, I think, 3 different captains, but it wasn't as important to me as a 30-year-old player that had been in the league as it was when I was upcoming and young. I think a captain has a big responsibility with the young players, whereas I don't think a captain will play a huge role in a guy that's established coming in at 30. He will play a role for sure, but I don't think it's as important.
Wanted to mention about Andreychuk. One of the reasons why I think he was a guy that could stand up to a Tortorella is you mentioned that he was a fourth liner, and one of the hardest workers. But he also was at a certain point in his career. He was a 50 goal scorer.
He's a Hall of Famer, right?
He's a Hockey Hall of Famer, so that kid definitely gave him a lot more cachet. But anyway, I was wondering though, Dan, any kind of classic stories that you can remember about Andreychuk and Tortorella, and just Dave standing up to him.
I don't remember which game. I remember one in particular, and it's nothing that jumps. I can't tell you what the team was. I remember Torts came in and just lit us up, and he shut the door and he said, fuck him. Fuck Torts. Fuck that guy. And it was just whew. It was amazing. And I mean, I think Torts coached that way too a little bit. I think he knew what he was doing and firing us up, but it brought the team together. And so that's the one story. It's not a specific story. I don't remember what game it was, but I just remember that was who Andy was. And again, here he was a Hall of Famer. He's had how many, 50 goal seasons and all these accolades. And he's at the back of the plane, at the back of the bus, playing cards with us, talking shit with like 22-year-old kids back there. It was awesome. He was great, and he was a perfect captain.
That dynamic is interesting because, like, Torts obviously still has a coaching career now, like 20 years later, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's something to be said about that kind of style of, if they hate him, they can't hate each other kind of thing. Like, you're all bonding together kind of thing.
Yeah, there's different coaching methods, right? Mm-hmm. There's coaches that want you to play for them. I'm going to go through a wall for this guy.
Yep.
And I mean, maybe he's evolved. I mean, but it was more of like he wanted guys to play in spite of him. Like, fuck that guy, I'll show him.
Yeah.
Which worked. I mean, it worked, right?
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say we got a Stanley Cup that says it does work? It's just, it's hard. Not every player can play through or for a coach like that. You have to have very thick skin. Mm-hmm. You have to have a lot of confidence in yourself, and you have to have a good united team because it can create some friction. And obviously we won a cup because we came together, in spite of him, but a lot of it was probably something he was trying to do. Right. Years later, I kind of realized after I was retired, I was like, oh, okay, I think he was trying to do that. I get it now, but I didn't get it then.
That's brilliant. I love it. And what's interesting too, I find in all of what you were talking about in terms of a good captain is you really talk a lot about the off ice stuff. And I think a lot of fans are like, just going to go talk to the refs, what's on the ice.
Yeah.
But you really are referring to a lot of like, hey, like travel planning and
there's
bringing the boys together.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit. I mean, rookies, making sure they're okay, but it's the stupid shit. Like, why this one keeps coming to my mind, but like, where do the wives go in the wives' room? Is there alcohol in there? Is there not? Are they allowed to come on the road? Are they not? Just shit that like, you just shouldn't have to worry about. A good captain and a good leadership group will take care of that with the coaches. And, with the new CBA, the CBA that I went through, we ended up getting days off, which was a huge for us, right? So now they're mandatory days off. I don't know if they're still in the same CBA now, but back then we could land at 3 a.m. I'm going to go back to Minnesota again or Buffalo, and he could have a 9 o'clock practice if he wanted to. Back when I started, now they can't do that anymore. That's where a captain's got to step up and say, "Fuck no, we're not doing that." And I think that's where Andy back in the day too was very good at having a good pulse and sticking up for us. And he was great.
And that brings up a really good point too about the experience. I just can't see a 19-year-old and 18-year-old, standing up to a coach or leadership.
You can't. And I know Sheng's going to have his points for pro Macklin. I think. By the way, I think Macklin was amazing. I think not just because he was first overall, like he was everything I had hoped he was. He's very smart. That's my biggest thing with a player: work ethic and hockey IQ. He's amazing. I don't know him as a person, so I can't vouch for that. But as a player, absolutely, he will have a C one day. I just don't think it's today. I think it's too soon. I think he needs to get experience of going through some hockey seasons. He needs to go through the experience of playing in the playoffs, and then you give it a C. I think there needs to be some experience there.
I wanted to ask just in general, though, the experience of not having a captain. The Sharks the last couple of years, Logan Couture has been the captain in name, but obviously he hasn't been around a lot. So anyway, when you have just alternate captains like the Sharks have had, is there a sense when you're going through a rough patch in the game that maybe nobody knows whose turn it is to speak up, kind of that kind of feeling possibly happening?
Yeah, I think I think there's going to be a leadership core no matter what, whether you put in a a letter on them now. You have your Toffoli, you have your Marleau, you've got guys that I think, and again, I'm not on the team. I'm speaking from somebody who watches from the nosebleeds, right? Those guys seem to me like two guys that could step up and talk when they need to. The other thing that I didn't mention was, if you're going to name a captain, ideally you want him to be in your plans for the next couple of years. You don't want to be naming captains every 2 or 3 years. So
right. So maybe not Ferraro.
So Mario, who I love watching, I love his work ethic. But where does he fit in 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Only, the GM and the assistant GMs and the owners know that. I don't know what that plan is for him, but he seems to fit the mold from the nosebleeds. But you don't want to name a captain every 2 years, ideally.
Yeah, that makes sense. And how about, we talked a little bit about the off ice and a little bit about the on ice, but can you expand a little bit on the on ice? Like, what's the ideal captain with captains that you've played with that exemplify leadership on the ice? What does that look like?
I think it's work ethic again. I'll go back to when I started. Again, for me, captains when I was younger were more important to me than, that's not to say Joe and Patty weren't, or McDonough my last year. It's just, for me, I remember Scott Mellenby was my first captain in Florida. I grew up as a Flyers fan, so I was kind of a little starstruck. But again, hardest worker on the ice. Was he our best player? No, but just set the tone, work ethic. And doesn't mean he was the fastest. Andy was certainly not the fastest, but we would do these Tortorella laps, and Andy had a hard time getting around the ice, but he worked hard. So on the ice, I think work ethic is fucking huge. And I've already said it about, that's going to be the word of the day. Every time work ethic, everyone has to shotgun a tequila or something. But I think on ice work ethic is huge, and knowing when to have a voice.
So 2 questions in one. Should the Sharks name a captain? And if so, who do you think would be a good idea if you had to choose?
So I don't know what the plan is for Mario. I'm not in the locker room. So that's where I struggle in talking about it, because I feel like the locker room will know a lot more than I do.
Yes.
I used to be in that locker room, and there would be the Sheng Peng saying, "Well, so and so should," and Sheng Peng doesn't know anything. He's not in the locker room.
Why am I the target? I'm sitting here drinking my.
I know. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you. I don't know Tyler Toffoli. I don't know. I don't know what kind of, it seemed like he had a good connection with the young guys. Is he the hardest working player out there? I don't know any of these things. So I think Mario and Toffoli are the 2 names that come to mind for me.
Of course.
And then who's the kid that just came back from he's not a kid anymore, but he was with San Jose, left with New York, scored a big goal.
Oh yeah, that's actually what I was going to mention. That
Goodrow.
Our little birdie
Goodrow.
May have said Barclay Goodrow to me.
Goodrow is another one. I don't know him, but it seems like he works hard. Does he have the respect of the room? These are the questions that I don't have the answers to, but those are the 3 guys that, if they just went with assistants with those 3 guys, I think that's okay. And then you give Macklin another year under his belt, see where we are next year, and then you go from there. I don't like giving it to him this year. I think it's too early, and I don't think it's the right move.
I did want to ask you about how tough it is for a kid to be a captain. And it's a different player, different experience. But the year before you came to Tampa, the Lightning had named Vinny Lecavalier. He was a 20-year-old to be the captain before that. And so anyway, just in general for a kid, and I think you alluded to it a little bit already, but just that this, it could be Macklin, it could be anybody, right? That they don't have that experience sort of saying F you to the coach, or even the details of that sort of thing, of just where the wives will sit and that sort of thing. And so with Macklin, then when do you think maybe then is the right time for him then? Like, if not this year, next year?
No, I definitely, I don't think this year for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm even hesitant to say the following year. But I would say by year 4, I think he'll have 80, 200 plus games under his belt. Hopefully, maybe a playoff series or two under his belt. I think 3 years. And back to your reference, Vinny got the C taken off, right?
Yeah,
Correct me
he
if I'm
did.
wrong. Yeah. So it's added pressure that I don't think a kid, and he's a kid, needs. It's added pressure that he doesn't need, and he will be a captain one day. I think it's too soon. So I would say year 4.
And I just want to say for the record, so on for the record part of that, I do not endorse Macklin being the captain next year. I only cite past examples because there are past examples of Sidney Crosby being named as a 19-year-old, and obviously Sidney had no issue in his career being the captain for so long. But in general, the Sharks have seemed very conscious of being careful of putting too much weight on Macklin, which I think is the right thing to do. As good as Macklin is, he's just 18. He's just a kid. And
I'd also like to say real quick about Sidney is he had Mario Lemieux at his wing, right?
Well, his first year, first couple of years, and then Mario retired.
You
got Mario, you got Yager, you had a lot to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ron Francis was there.
No, Yager and Francis weren't there anymore.
They weren't?
They were
just
elsewhere.
Mario.
Yeah,
but it's still he had some cast there, at least a little bit.
Yeah. There's some.
But my next question then for you, Dan, then in terms of the composition of a leadership room and the general idea that I've sort of understood when you're kind of putting together a room is that you want different types of players. You want, maybe it can be let's say you have a captain and 3 or 4 alternates. You want a star in one of these roles. You want a grinder.
Mm-hmm.
You want a defenseman. You don't want your leadership room comprised of, say, 4 stars or 4 forwards or something like that, right? And so, anyway, can you speak to that? Just the different kind of compositions of types.
Yeah, I like a mixture of players. I'll use myself and Joe Thornton as an example. You can't have 4 of me. I was very.
And you got a human centipede.
Yeah, it's a human centipede on the plane.
No, I was intense. I just kind of, and I think you need guys like me. I think you do, but you need a balance. And I think Joe was a little bit more, let's get him to, and I think that's great as well, but I think there needs to be a balance, right? So that was a good balance of 2 guys that were both pretty decent hockey players, but, approach things differently, reacted differently. And I think that's what you need is a mixture of that. You need the intense person. You need somebody that's going to be vocal. I didn't like to speak in front of a whole locker room. I like to take guys, matter when Jason Demers, some of the younger guys, one-on-one, give them my 2 cents if they wanted to hear it, which, hopefully they did. And I was more comfortable with that versus, so you need somebody that can be open to talking from the locker room. You don't necessarily need a letter for that, but ideally you want a guy that's earned his stripes to talk. So can talk in front of everyone. The media thing, it's a minor thing, but some guys don't like to do it. That was not a problem for me. I didn't mind. I told it as I saw it, as it was. Some guys didn't want to reveal as much and gave you a little bit more of the cliches. I just wasn't a fan of that. So, and then as far as on the ice, it's a little more tactical, but you don't want, like you said, you don't want 3 letters on your top line and then you got nobody on your second, third, fourth line. You want to try to have someone on the ice represented all the time. Very minor, but you want to try to have somebody on the ice at all times where there's going to be somebody that's going to talk to the ref and the refs, no offense, but Macklin might be, again, going back, I'm picking on Macklin now, but
pick on Macklin, don't pick on me,
Macklin might say some of the ref, and some of these refs have egos, and they'll be like, "You're fucking 19, kid. Don't fucking talk to me about that." And they're not going to respect him. Not that they don't think he's a great player, very good player. He's a fucking great player. He's amazing. But are they going to listen to a 19 or a 20-year-old kid telling him, "Fuck ref, open your eyes"? No, they won't. But if it's somebody like Patty Marleau, who's got 1 billion games, or Pavelski, or, it's about earning it, right? Like,
yeah,
they will listen to you. I remember the way refs listened to me when I was 21, 22. They didn't give a fucking shit. But as I got better, after I won a cup, after I won a gold medal, after I had 600, 700, 800 games under my belt, referees were much, much kinder to me, much more respectful. So that's something that you also need as far as naming assistants and captains. You want to have somebody that's going to have the referee's respect. And
you kind of alluded to this, but one of the types of leaders that you think is important is the guy who's comfortable who will step up in the room and talk. Yeah. And obviously Andreychuk is a guy that was very comfortable in
was very good
at that point in his career, right? And a younger player like, Macklin, may not be quite ready for that yet. And reminds me of actually a story that you told us that I think is good to retell here. So can you tell us about a younger player in the room that sometimes talked when maybe he shouldn't have? And you just alluded to him. So.
No, you're talking about Jason Demers?
Yes, I am.
I love JD. He was a great kid. He's not a kid anymore, but he's a great guy. But he had a mouth, and he would talk sometimes, and which is great. But sometimes if Ryan Clough is having a bad day or something, shut the fuck up, JD. So that's not to say young guys can't talk, because you can't. Yeah. It's just there's a little bit of I don't know, man. You got to earn your stripes a little bit sometimes. And,
yeah.
But I love JD.
Would JD be like, "Hey, got to get it going, boys"? What the fuck was that period?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And I can't think of one particular example. It was more of just a generalization of him saying something and somebody saying, "Shut the fuck up."
That should be the name of our podcast. That should be the name of our podcast. Shut the fuck up, JD.
He doesn't come back, right? He's already been on it once.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that's great. You want to have a room, man. Ideally, and when I say I'm intense and like that,
yeah,
I was pretty. I mean, I was pretty calm. Like I had a coffee. I watched East Coast games. I was very calm. You want to have a room where guys should be free to speak. You want guys to feel like they belong. You want to make it as comfortable as possible for everyone. It's just that fine line where if it goes a little bit too far one way, it becomes, we used to use the example like the Harlem Globetrotters, or like it just becomes too like there needs to be a little bit of a shift of like. I remember Todd McLellan. Sorry if I'm taking over this whole hour here, but
no.
I came from Tampa where it was very strict, and the locker room was kind of the locker room or whatever. And I remember when we got to San Jose, Todd, the first day, I remember he said, "I want this locker room to be your second home." He said, "If you have kids, I want to see them here." I remember him saying, "If your kids are chewing gum, I want them." He said something like, "I want to see gum on the floor," or something. He said something about gum on the floor, like meaning like he wanted like a family environment in the locker room, and I had never heard that.
Oh, that's before. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't have kids when I was in Tampa, so for me it was like a breath of like almost like fresh air. Like, this is pretty fucking cool. Unfortunately, I had 2 girls that didn't really want to come around, but a lot of the guys would bring their kids in. It made it a place where guys wanted to be. And
right.
I think coaches have a big say in that, but your captain and your leadership group will also have a say in that. You're there for freaking 9 months a year. You want to make it be a place that you're gonna enjoy, and obviously winning games is going to be a big part of that. But you want to make it fun. You want to make it fun environment, while at the same time working your ass off.
Yeah, that actually reminds me. I wonder who instituted that with the Sharks. Was it a Ron Wilson, the coach before Todd, or was it a Doug Wilson? Because even after Todd left, Peter DeBoer, you would see Nathan Pavelski, Joe's son, there all the time. You would see Brent Burns and his kids would be there. Joe Thornton's kids would and all that during practices and whatnot. So I wonder if that was part of the the Sharks sort of mystique, or what worked for the Sharks, even if it didn't lead to the ultimate success. But
yeah, I know Todd for sure again, and the game evolves, right? I mean, coaches evolve, games evolve. Who knows? Maybe the Stanley Cup winning team that year did that with their, you know what I mean? Then, you know, another team will copy it. But it was refreshing for me to hear that coming from what I came from. And I lost my train of thought, but yeah, it was great of Todd. And I, you know, to this day, I think.
Do you think that that kind of contributed to what we see now, which is like, I mean, you could count, it's going to take your hands, your toes to count like all of the ex-Sharks that are involved in this current rebuild, right? Like you've got Ryan Clough, Mike Greer, you've got, you know, even you, like you're sitting on a podcast about the San Jose Sharks. Like,
still live in San Jose.
Special about that time, you know?
Well, we had, I mean, you know, I've said this before, and I won a cup in Tampa, but the best team I might have played on might have been my first year, our President Trophy team in 2008. We lost to Anaheim in the first round, got swept 4-0. But that regular season team was freaking stacked.
It was disgusting. I remember that season. That
season we destroyed. I mean, we won in Tampa. Okay, like we were very good.
Yeah.
But in 2008, I think we were fucking shit kicking teams. Like.
Yep.
Like, and that might be the best team I've ever been on. And God, I'm totally lost train of thought. It's just
we're gonna do another episode in the future. What happened? What happened
from a fan perspective?
In the future, it's just interesting that there is a lot of Sharks that are trying to not recap.
Yeah, that's right.
But like come back to it and try and build up a new team.
Well, yeah, I mean, we did everything but win. So you know, you got a lot, like, you know, and even I got to mention Tom Holy, who was like our freaking towel boy. No, he wasn't. He was like PR guy. Now he's assistant GM. But we had a good thing going. We just never got to finish it. So now guys are trying to do it from the press box instead of on the ice.
I love it.
Well, you know, another thing that I was sort of thinking about in what you're talking about, this delicate balance of a good leader, is oftentimes what I see on the ice is, you know, you have your guys that are like these grinders that are just like working hard and have that strong work ethic you're talking about. But some of those leaders that I love to see on the ice is you're down by a goal, even by 2 goals, but they have that swagger to them. They got that like calm confidence, like the Kucherovs are just like, we got this, boys. You know? So like,
again, there's so many points that we can bring up. I hadn't thought of that, but absolutely. You want to have the guy that wants the puck on his stick at the end of a game, or when you're up by a goal or 2 goals and then you're cut by 1, and it's, you know, and guys are all tight. Your leaders need to be those guys that show confidence. I think I was talking to you guys about, I played on 2010, the gold medal game where we got tied with less than a minute left. Parise scores. We were going in overtime. And it was just like calm. It was just pure calm. I don't know what it was like on the U.S. side, but like there was probably 15 Hall of Famers in that room. And I think that's what you kind of want from your leaders is that confidence, that swagger, to use your word, where if you're up a goal or down 2, whatever, they're just going to fucking be that. They're going to be those guys. And Andreychuk is a perfect example because he was a 4th-line guy, but he was on the power play, every power play. And he would be on the ice, you know, but he could like hold the puck, and it creates that calmness for sure.
So I love that. And going back to that gold medal game, I think you're lined up with someone very interesting.
Yeah.
Pronger.
What
was that like?
I mean, Mutt and Jeff, is that like, he's 6'6", and I was like 5'10". It was amazing, and I think we talked about it the other day. Where like a lot of people, I didn't know because I didn't watch the replay for years and years later, and then only recently, one of my buddies at Courteval showed me the score sheet of the gold medal game, and Pronger was 1 in ice time, and I was number 2. I would have never guessed in a million years that was the case. And in overtime alone, I had the most ice time. So it blew my freaking mind. But obviously, being with Chris, he calmed things down for me. Hopefully, I did the same for him. But playing with somebody like that as your D partner or your center or wing will, with that swagger, it's infectious. It transcends or transpires, or it's infectious. So he was a perfect partner for me. I was all over the place, and he was calm and steady back there, and I think we made a pretty decent pair.
Wanted to ask you about different leadership types. So you've referred to, you want a work ethic guy. Yeah. You want a glue guy, the guy who kind of brings everybody together, maybe off the ice. You want comfortable in the room, the guy to stand up and to talk when things are going bad, or to tell the coach to F off. And Zubair added a different kind of element too, which is a good element for a room too. A guy with some swagger, the guy who wants the puck on his stick. No matter what. So wanted to put you on the spot here, Dan. Some of your all-time examples of guys like that. So who's your all-time work ethic guy?
Well, I mean,
besides yourself.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's a big place in my heart. Marty St. Louis. Okay. To this day, was not a captain. I don't know if he was ever a captain.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Hardest working player I've ever played with, besides myself.
Okay, and how about a glue guy, the guy who brings people off the ice together?
There's been a lot. If we're not going just straight up captains or assistants, I think Dougie Murray was pretty awesome.
Okay, yeah.
He was pretty great. But I mean, Joe Thornton was pretty good with the young guys. Pretty good at that stuff. So. I would say those two guys that come to mind right now.
Okay, and then how about the comfortable in the room, comfortable standing up and talking when something needed to be said?
I think I'm going to go back to Andreychuk.
Andreychuk,
Andreychuk was pretty comfortable talking in front of the room, and again, he earned it. So he was great, and again, winning a couple do that, but he was pretty awesing.
And how about a swagger guy then for you?
Swagger.
Who wanted that puck on his stick?
God, I gotta go back to Marty. I mean, Marty really wanted the puck, man, and yeah. I mean, Joe. I mean, there's again. I'm 18 years, right? There's probably somebody I'm forgetting right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marty St. Louis to me, I think is probably that guy.
Well, Sharks fans will want to hear the same list, but with just Sharks then. So
okay,
who is the work ethic guy with the Sharks?
Well, you know what? This is gonna be totally off the board, but like Scotty Nichols.
Oh, okay.
Scotty
Nichols, now AGM of the Predators. Okay.
Was a fucking machine, man.
All right.
He was the Energizer Bunny. He was not. He was a third, fourth liner.
Yep.
But nobody worked harder than Scotty. So. Not that he's going to hear this, but hopefully, if he does, shout out. He's
an avid listener. He was
inspiring, man. So shout out to Scotty Nichols. He was awesome.
Yeah. We actually were going to talk a little bit about, to kind of round out this, your time with the Sharks and the different captaincy during that time, because it was kind of tumultuous, to use.
Whoa, wait. We have to finish this list here, though. So
you got it.
Yeah, okay. Let's. So we have glue guy, which is, you said Jumbo and Doug Murray.
Yeah.
Well, who's the Shark that was most comfortable getting up and talking in front of everybody?
Shit. You know what? Rob Blake was pretty good.
Okay.
Again, he had been established. Rob Blake.
I got to ask this too while we're here, because I remember when the Sharks didn't have a captain for that one season, and it was at the Stadium Series. they did like the inside the locker room. So we got a glimpse of like Pavelski in the locker room. And it was like a precursor, like he should be captain.
Yeah.
He had this great speech, like, let's fucking go, boys. And he got the boys going and he was intense. What was he like in the locker room? Could you tell he was going to be a captain later down the line?
So I was gone when that happened, but yeah, not surprised. He's more of a quiet leader, but work ethic is great. Just a great guy, earned his reputation, and he was a late round pick, which I like. He wasn't. Yeah. He earned everything he had. I was not surprised he was named captain, but I had him. When we played together, there was Blakey, there was Patty, there was Jumbo. Myself, Ryan Clough, so he probably took a little bit of a backseat to us a little bit, but he loved work. God, I'm taking up too much time here. I'm getting all fired up. He's the kind of player you want to fucking go through a wall for.
Okay.
And you can't say that about every guy. There's some guys that are good players, but Pavs, you wanted to work for him because he worked for you, and that's the best way I can describe him. He was fucking great.
And who is your swagger Sharks guy? The guy that wanted the puck at the kind of those moments.
I think Joe. Joe wanted the puck.
Yeah.
Joe wanted the puck. Yeah, I'll give it to Joe.
Yeah, I don't know why, but as a fan perspective, I feel like Coots wanted it too.
Cooch?
Couture? Yeah.
Yeah. When he he kind of like became captain after I left and stuff. So for the time that I'm kind of basing it off the time that I was there. And by the way, he might be my favorite. Like him and I are cut from the same cloth. His work ethic and the way he played the game, the way he thought the game. You wanted him on the ice, whether you were down a goal or up a goal. He's fucking Swiss Army knife. Love him. But I don't think I got to see. I missed the whole captaincy years with Logan because I was gone at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think we're near kind of the end of this discussion, but summary though. So Dan doesn't like Macklin Celebrini. That's
Macklin Celebrini sucks.
Of course.
I did want to mention though, with we talked about Marleau Ferraro a little bit, and I don't know what you guys think, but I think, and Zubair, I think you mentioned this before, that I actually think Marleau is probably the most suitable to be the captain over Goodrow and Toffoli, except for the fact that the Sharks tried to trade him every fucking year. And that's the main problem here, that like we don't know if he's going to be around past February. So
yeah,
if you were to pick one, I think that I'm actually going to pick Goodrow then, if the kind of the safest example of a guy that, nothing against Toffoli. Toffoli is that glue guy. He brings everybody off the ice. I don't know if his work ethic though is up to the 100, not to say he doesn't work hard, but up to that kind of standard though of the 150% kind of guy. But that'll be my vote if the Sharks go with the captain before Macklin. So I just wanted to go around the room really fast before we get to kind of the final topic. So what do you guys
do we get a Boiler finger gun for this one too?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Yeah. So
no, Matchbox 20.
Wait, how many years is Goodrow signed though?
He's 2 years at least. 2 years.
Yeah, this year and next year.
Yeah.
So you're going with Goodrow.
I'm gonna go Goodrow.
I'm going Toffoli. I think he.
Wait, can the answer be no captain, or it has to?
Yeah, it could be no captain. It could be no captain. Yeah.
I'm going no captain.
No captain. Okay.
No captain.
I would also say no captain, but just to throw something out there, I think Marleau Ferraro. The reason is I think that, like, even talking to Dan, work ethic has got to be like a higher weighted average.
Sure.
And I just don't see that with Toffoli. Like, he's a good glue guy, but I don't think that's as important as like the guy that's on the ice blocking shots with his face. Right. And that's Ferraro. He's loud in the locker room. 100%. We know that. And the only thing that I think he's lacking on is some of the swagger. He can be squirrely at times.
And job security.
Well, so here's my point on that. Okay. So my point on that is that, okay, yeah, he's been on the trade block every season for sure, but the Sharks value him higher than anyone else in the league.
Well, that's a double-edged sword there.
That people want to return for him. So I'm saying, I don't think, I think there's a chance we give it to him We sign a good deal. He stays for another year, and I hope he finally has
I like Mario.
some insulation to find some of that swagger, because I love Mario, and I would whenever I watch him, like even before his last injury last season, I talked to him after, because me and my buddy were watching the game and he blocked a shot and like blew up his ankle. But right before that, he was like pounding his stick on the ice after, I forgot who was in net, like covered the puck, and he wanted it. And that's what Dan just said. He was like, dude, you want that guy who wants the puck? And he was like banging his stick. And me and my buddy were like, dude, I think Mario was yelling, like, give me the puck. Because then he was having a great game. So I talked to Mario at like the Couture thing, the Couture retirement. And I was like, dude, were you asking for the puck? He's like, dude, yeah, I was. I was feeling it. I was like, dude, we saw it. Like, I could tell you were fucking feeling it. And like, so if we get that Mario and everything else clicks, I think he's the guy.
Well, you know what?
All right, gun to my head. And
okay.
I have to pick someone. I'm going Mario too.
Okay, that's a good pick.
All right.
Yeah.
If I can't do no captain, I'm going Mario.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, we'll give Mario some swagger, a 3-year contract. So
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's give it to him, boys.
And a better like D partner and better decor overall, I think would be good for Mario, because he's just kind of like Mario. I love Mario, but he's kind of been through some shitty Sharks teams, to be honest. Like just the worst Sharks teams, and he needs to be on a good Sharks team and be a good part of a Sharks team to really feel being a captain of a good team, you know?
Yeah.
And he never stopped trying his hardest, even with those shitty teams.
No, he doesn't. And actually, can I interject
Yeah,
again?
you know, love him.
Gotta ask Dan this question, because this is something that Keegan and I have not argued about, because I think Keegan is not against me. So I shouldn't say argue, but we've talked a lot about it before, that Mario would have been such a good fit to previous Sharks teams, like the ones you're on, the very, very good teams, that just how he plays, his personality, that he would have been a great fit for that group. And he just sort of got unlucky. He came into the league to this Sharks team 5 years too late. You know, he could have been like a Justin Braun type. Anyway, so
I have something to say real quick.
Yes.
Didn't the Sharks get blown out last year, like 8-0 or 9-0, a couple games in a row against the Goalies?
2 years ago, they lost. They gave up 10 goals in consecutive games.
11 goals.
Okay, so go back, watch those two games,
and
I want you to watch who's working their ass off in the third period. And I believe
probably only Mario.
I believe your captain.
Probably only Mario.
I believe your captain will be right there.
Yeah,
damn.
That's probably true.
So,
yeah,
Sharks fans, go back and watch those 2 10-0 games. Who's working hard in the third period? Email Sheng, and that's your captain, right?
And after you watch those two, you'll be ready for the Human Centipede.
That'll be a highlight. That'll be like, good. We're going to watch Human Centipede.
That's the road trip home, baby.
Thank goodness.
That's the plane ride home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watch the Human Centipede on silent with just Matchbox 20's greatest hits.
Can I just say that, like Shang and I have been doing this podcast for 2 years. We've watched some very bad Sharks teams, and it's been kind of depressing. And I'm honestly a little bit excited to have Dan Boyle here to watch some better, hopefully better Sharks teams. That's all I'll say.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, we're going to make this fun.
Exactly.
Whether, one way or another, because we want to make sure we keep the fans interested.
It's going to get better. That's the way we have to say it.
Interested. I got a lot more for you guys. Got a lot more up here.
Let's go.
Stay tuned.
Start from the bottom, we'll get to the top, but in Human Centipede style.
Buckle up.
Buckle up.
All right, boys. This is a great one. This is so much fun, and can't wait for the next one. We got some more exciting things to talk about.
Can we close with a little bit of history, though? Keegan's got a question to close.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, we're still talking about captaincy.
Yes.
This is our last question. It's basically like the Sharks had a history of changing captaincy, right? Like they had Patrick Marleau, who was taken away his captaincy in 2009. Then Joe Thornton, who was also taken or stripped of his captaincy after the reverse sweep to LA. Obviously, you were then quickly after that time sent to the Rangers. But what do you think about those situations where you pick a captain and then kind of have to backtrack? Do the players lose the room?
Those are two tough situations. Those are pretty hard on those two guys.
Yeah.
I will say this. I do have to respect. I want to talk about stuff, but I do respect the sanctuary of the locker room. And there's certain things I definitely don't want to go into. Those were two tough situations. I think both obviously Hall of Famers, both great players. There were probably a couple individual things that happened behind the scenes that could have probably, some of the reasons there, but I don't think it falls solely on them. I think it is a team effort. It's a team sport. And sometimes, and I can't say because I wasn't the GM, but sometimes there is that added pressure, and sometimes teams will remove a letter from a player in order to free him up, because there are those responsibilities that I said that have nothing to do with the game. And I think I can't speak for Doug and why, things happen, but I think it was to probably free up those guys a little bit. And I was gone by the time Jumbo, obviously that was a horrible way to end the season and my Sharks, career here. But it's tough. You have to make changes sometimes. It's like you just have to try to pull the goalie and put in your backup to try to get the team going again. So sometimes if you can't fire your whole team or trade your whole team, you sometimes remove your captain, and it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen very often, nor should it. But sadly, I went through two of it twice. But
we need a pick me up at the end of this. We don't have any more questions, but this is very depressing.
Shit. Sharks fans, if you want more of the individual reasons from Dan, buy him a Moscow Mule if you see him around. All right.
Yes, Moscow Mule. Moscow Mule. Well, there's other stuff I like to do, but we'll talk about that on another podcast.
Oh yeah, we will.
Nothing crazy.
I told you guys my story about when I went to the Sharks game last season.
Let's save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe what we should do is for the next podcast, to open the podcast, is somebody suggests an actor or a genre or something, some sort of movie related topic, so we can start with that. How about that?
I like it.
It'll be in the comments. We can start with
that. Because I'm looking at the time. I'm like, are people going to listen to an hour and a half of
they do.
hockey?
No, they do. Yeah. Keegan and I, we've
usually
done 3-hour podcasts. So.
That's wild. I don't know anyone that will listen to an hour and a half of that. But if you throw in some Tom Cruise and some Human Centipede in there, I think it's more likely to,
Hell yeah.
Dan, you know what people do actually, and this is something I learned recently, but people will listen to this podcast at 1.25 or 1.5 speed. So basically to get through it faster. So this hour and a half will go in 45 minutes.
And that's why we go really fast when we keep saying what we're
doing. All right. Well, that was good.
Boys. That's a wrap, boys.
All right, boys. Good episode. Well,
how do we end it? Do we all meet our hands in the middle of the
we salute?
Put your hands in the middle. You got to go. You got to go to the corner.
I was gonna
lower
cheers
corner,
you guys, but okay, we can do that though.
Let's all human.
I'm gonna do the Star Trek thing.
Let's all human
centipede
each other. Wait, we all got to face the right. We all got to face the right way though.
Yeah,
okay, I gotta go.
No, you got to go there. No, because that's
this way.
Yeah, you got to go this way.
This way.
There you go.
Go this way.
Wait, you guys.
Me
and Zubair got it. You guys don't have it. Right? Me and Zubair got it. Zubair, put your elbow back on the other screen.
Okay.
Move your elbow towards my hand, so it looks like we're connected. Other way. There we go. We're connected.
Guys.
We're connected.
We are in.
Give up.
Keegan, you're going the wrong way. We're not connected, Keegan.
Me and Zubair are good. We're totally
good.
Keegan,
we are one.
Keegan's got to move his fist into Sheng Peng's arm.
Into me.
Move your fist. No, into Sheng Peng's arm. No, the other way.
Other way?
The other way. Yeah, go. Keep going. The other way.
Put it in, Keegan.
Now move it.
No.
Move your left hand into Sheng Peng's forearm. No.
Put
What do you
it
mean?
in. Put
Move
it
it
in,
over.
goddamn.
Look at me and Zubair. Look at me and Zubair.
Okay,
Put
but
it in,
listen,
Keegan.
like this is exactly what you.
Okay,
Put
now
it in, Keegan.
Yeah,
move
I
it
know,
the other
but
way.
You're not
Move it.
connecting with me.
Move
though.
it to your right. Move it to your right. Move it to your right. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going.
Keep going.
Yes.
Oh,
going.
that
Yes.
feels so good.
Yes.
I want you all to
We
know
are
that on
one.
my screen,
Yeah, that's
Shang's
it.
over here.
Okay, but that's good. This is it.
That's right.
Yeah, can we be
So-
done now?
Yes. We have officially the
We
weirdest
have
podcast in all of
Human
hockey.
Centipede 4.
Let's fucking go, boys.
That's the hardest workout I've ever done, to be honest with you.
All right, boys. Ciao,
All right.
man. Hopefully we don't
boys.
go down to 5 listeners. Let me know.
Until next week, we'll talk about something better than the Human Centipede.